Dear viewers, welcome again into the Digital Educational Hackathon TV show. We can name it as so. And again, hello, Christoph.
Hello, Mart.
You are here because to introduce today's topic about the Digital Education Hackathon, about the digital knowledge of teachers and everything else, and also these people who will come and join with us soon. So what is the main title today?
Of course, we are more and more excited about the upcoming Digital Education Hackathon, the DigiEduHack, and we are keep on preparing how to connect all the actors of the field of digital education, the EdTech people, the entrepreneurs, and also the technical people, and also the teachers, and not to forget the students, the most important part of this story, but also everybody else whom we need to mention in this context. And as last time we had our most important group, the students.
Yes,
now,
we remember
yes,
it.
Yes.
Nice and beautiful stories. And,
yes, yes. And this time we address the teachers. And we will have in the studio also those people who are teachers themselves, also who are in touch with teachers, and also who are developing solutions for teachers as well in the field of digital education.
And also these people who maybe expect what kind of knowledge need to be have the students who will exit the school. So
absolutely,
the real life.
Absolutely. So this context is changing incredibly fast as we know it, and also those skills and competences which are required for the students are changing incredibly fast. But what it takes for the teachers to prepare these generations for the unknown, for the future. So this is really the big question, because
is it at all possible?
Well,
Christoph, is it at all possible in the education system?
That has been always the challenge of education, but now when we take a look at how many emerging technologies are changing our context, the whole our surroundings are transformed by these tools, and also how to get access and how to understand that what's behind these tools. That's really the challenge, and how to open it up. This is the big question and the big challenge for the teachers. And many times I can also feel that there is too big pressure on the teachers, and they need also more support in this very challenging work.
For sure. So let's start from the first chapter of ours.
Yes, in these terms, we really interested about the innovative pedagogical approaches. So when we talk about emerging technologies, we also talk about new kind of uses of this technology, new kind of implementation. And we know that technology has never been an overall goal. It's really would be a mistake to not to think that why do we use technology, why do we need it, for what kind of pedagogical reason we have to use it, because let's admit that maybe we don't need always to turn to the digital technology solution, but when we do it, it's better to do it with a very clear purpose, and also to have more experiment with these new technologies as well, how to bring them into the classroom. So it also requires a lot of courage. So we really want to see these new practices, but also what is missing, what can we do more, what can we do better, maybe to have more self-efficacy to bring these new things into the classroom. That's what we're going to address in the first part.
Yes, and there are the Leonard Sommer and Svetlana Goranova.
Yes, we have very esteemed guests today as well. So Leonard Sommer has been a vice president and marketing director of Zaubar. It's an augmented reality project. I think he will share more about it. And he has a global mission at the same time, and this is also leads to our second chapter, that he's collecting all over the world creative practices within the schools. So when we talk about informal education, we see that how many more new venues there are and new opportunities in addition to the school, and how these other venues are competing with the school. And there's a lot to do with the digital technology. Just as a platform that we use, YouTube, is extremely more popular than any of our classes has been ever, and watched more people. So he's really can see this kind of connection, and he might have also some ideas how to transform the school. And when we talk about the transformation of the school, Svetlana Goranova, she has been an educational expert in mathematics, which is also not among the most popular subjects. That's let's admit that. So she's a head of a project called Education Without Backpacks. I'm really interested to see, because do you have the memory walking to the school with a heavy backpack?
I even have the one shoulder a bit lower because of that.
Yes.
So I need to control myself.
So let's hope that Svetlana is really bring a little bit lighter heart to go to the school. And she's also fond of fun mathematics. Have you ever connected mathematics and fun in your mindset? Was this connected to you, fun and mathematics?
Yes, but only in the later school stages, not in the beginning. Not in the beginning.
I see.
Whole 11 years was it just a terrible time with the
I think
mathematics.
it's going to be some new things for us, and let's continue like that. That we have also Theo Anagnostopoulos from Greece. He's also has quite a few hats to wear in the studio. On the one hand, he's a co-founder and general manager of Greece's largest science teacher NGO. It's called SCICO, Scientific Cooperation, SCICO. And also at the same time, it's
work together.
Yes, and he's at the same time also National Geographic Explorer. He's member of the Explorer Club. He has also quite a few global experiences. So I think many stories will arrive today to the studio. And we will have also Kerli Pozogina, who is from Estonia. And she's a project manager at the Education and Youth Board in Estonia. And they are the ones who really making Estonia is the education nation and the digital nation, how to combine education nation and digital nation in terms of digital competences. So we will see also that what it takes to have the professional development and training for the teacher, like as a lifelong learning exercise, because teachers are learners. Maybe
that's true.
That needs to be recognized, and I think we try to shed light all of these aspects today.
Thank you, Christoph, so much. And I think that also the viewers, now you can have the small taste of this show, what you're going to see during the 1 hour. And during this 1 hour also, please write the questions for us, because half an hour, Christoph and the guests will answer to all your interesting questions. Anything. Ask me anything session will be after 1 hour after the interviews. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Welcome back. So now in the studio, I'm glad to see Leonard and Svetlana. To be sure, I checked. To be sure, I know who you are already, and our viewers, they knows as well. But what do you want to say about yourself as an introduction? What do you want to add or delete from the Christoph introduction? Svetlana, please.
Yes, I'm wearing two hats normally, and one of the two hats will be more represented today. And as an educational expert in the Bulgarian Association, Education Without Backpacks, I will be really happy to share how we help teachers with digitalization. And as Christoph just mentioned, I'm also a CEO of Fun Mathematics, so I'll probably not mention much about that, but if somebody wants to ask.
Yes, for sure, we will ask, for sure, about both of these topics. And Leonard?
Yeah, it's maybe an introduction. It was interesting. We had dinner yesterday night, and we found out that actually she studied in my hometown. So all over the world we're going to meet here. So and she studied in Karlsruhe and started there also with your education mission, right? So from my side, I'm actually not an education expert at all. I'm an entrepreneur from the creative industries, actually, and I grew up in an Italian hippie village, actually, without any light, electricity, whatever, and where I had the privilege to have no technology, no television in the first 10 years.
There was a physical contact between people and understanding,
exactly.
Eye contact and all of these things. Do we miss it in the digital era?
Yeah, I mentioned that because I think that, and pointed out also that it's a privilege that I had a lot of time actually to be connected to nature and to all things and to be aware of that, and that might be something that we could be lost actually today, but more and more as I'm getting aware that might be an let's say a reason why I'm also so curious still, because I had in the first years I had really time to develop this curiosity, you know? And I think today we have both of it, but we should also support actually kids to really get in touch with both of these worlds. You know, that I think that's a challenge as well. So not always talking about technology and high tech and whatever, but also be connected to, let's say, the real life. No, just as an initial discussion.
And Svetlana, you don't delete this real life because you will help to take away this backpack from the students, and this fun mathematics can be happened also in the classroom physically, so people can see each other. Is it true or is it false?
So what we mean by education without backpacks is that we are really helping students and teachers get rid of those heavy textbooks and give them free access anytime, anywhere to really world-class quality materials. And here I speak about Khan Academy. So, what is really interesting here is that we get some really interesting stories about kids who were like sick for months, and the only thing they could do was studying. So they started learning with this platform. And in several months, they really did amazing results in final assessments. So this story inspired me to continue my my professional life into digital technologies because, yeah, as I mentioned, they can help any kid anywhere, and it's free as well. So this is my mission today, is to spread the news and the information. It's already known, like 140 million people use Khan Academy worldwide, but it's always good to say about the novelties.
How they can find it? Just Google the word
Khan Academy. Khan Academy, yeah. Academy. And if you just enter the prefix of your country, like in Bulgaria, it's bg.Khan Academy, so you have the Bulgarian version, and everything is in Bulgarian. And this is what my organization is doing, the organization I'm part of. We are translating and adjusting to the Bulgarian educational system the materials that are originally there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It sounds like an innovation not a small innovation, maybe even the bigger innovation. What do you think, kind of the solutions? Is it something what can also the entrepreneurs can wait for? That's less backpacks, or something would be interesting, or something will be accessible anytime.
I think generally touch a bit, I mean, to the accessibility. Knowledge actually is accessible anyhow, anytime. And what I found in my studies, maybe in short introduction about why I'm here actually. So
Of course.
practically I studied, I did an MBA actually in creative leadership, and I needed to write a thesis there. And actually the topic of my thesis was what school could learn from the creative industries, more or less. And I think what in the analysis actually I went through the topic actually that, and I mean everybody knows that in school, and especially the kids know that knowledge is accessible to everybody everywhere. And
there is a question of the quality of knowledge also. That what are the sources of this knowledge?
Especially in the times of AI. Yeah. And the thing is that in the books, actually in the backpacks, there's knowledge that is accessible in seconds. And they're putting in the backpacks and bringing that in school. And very often, and I think that touches your questions, we're teaching actually for the past. We are not teaching for the future. So practically, we're helping very often, at least in the most countries, in most schools, we're supporting to solve problems where the solutions are there. But the challenge actually that these kids actually who grew up now, my kids, they need to solve problems where the solution is not there.
Is it possible at all? I asked it from the Christoph as well. That is it possible at all to teach the future for the students?
I think so.
Do we know the future?
I think it depends on the definition of teaching. So
That's
whenever
true.
you teach actually knowledge and say, okay, I'm gonna tell you what we know. Actually, maybe that's not
you
the
mean
right way.
about the facts? Yeah,
Exactly,
about
the facts. And but if you support them as a coach actually to and guide them actually to solve new problems and give them methods to be inspired how to solve the new problem actually, that where probably the teacher doesn't even know the solution. That's a better way, in my opinion, at least, to teach. It's the same in our life, actually, in the business life. We don't work on problems where we know the solutions. Every day we have new jobs where you need to solve a problem that we didn't solve so far. And that's why very often also when students come to business side, they very often need to be unlearned instead of that they can use whatever they learned in the past. So I think I'm pretty sure that yes, future can be taught. It's just a matter of how, and also let's say especially also about the culture, how we teach. That's at least my point of view, and especially as we need also people or young people coming to the jobs actually that help us also to ask, okay, is everything, should we change everything here to really to change also the business side, and not only say, okay, I'm going to do however you expect it from me. No, I want to have somebody in there and say, is that right what we're doing? Why don't we do it in that way, right? And change it. No?
Of course, of course. Svetlana, what do you think? Is it possible to change quickly the role of the model role of teacher? Because it was quite a long time, as I know, and I'm here. Now they're coming down on the same floor. It's already exists, yeah. But then the next step need to be that I'm together with you, and I'm a bit vulnerable, so I can do mistakes as well. So that's the third step, and it's not the easy step, I think so. If I think about my colleagues, that what kind of percentage could be these teachers who can step even a bit lower and to be vulnerable, as described, Leonardo?
It's a great question. Actually, Christoph just mentioned before that teachers are learners, and there's so much information, so much technology coming. It's so overwhelming that they really should address this. And I think here is very important the trainings for teachers. And not just one training, but there should be a consistent series of trainings to make them really change the question they ask themselves. Not the question should not be how do I use this technology, but which technology can help me better serve my pedagogy or better serve my learning goals. So I think what is really important is this empowerment of teachers to be able to use different tools. In one situation, this could be just pencil and pen, but in another situation, this could be Khan Academy or any other digital instrument. I think also AI can help a lot. I'm not sure if you ask us about that, but
we had this topic.
You had this topic. But for example, now this new feature of Khan Academy, Khan Migo, which some people call virtual buddy, virtual tutor. I have seen it called like burnt out educator's best friend. Or debate partner. This is the AI-powered teaching assistant of Khan Academy, which in the future will help all around the world. Right now it's working only in the US, but it helps a lot teachers prepare their lesson plans. It can help with administrative work a lot. And for students, it can give them a lot of power to find out the solutions by asking the right question. So the AI asks the right question the students. So, but it's another topic.
That's true. No. It is connected with the digital educational directly. But we have the last minutes, and I know that Leonard, you have the many different cases you went through, the positive cases or successful cases of the innovation and the digital education, how to implement it. Maybe you have some suggestions through it for the teachers.
Yeah, maybe it's, I mean, these are not my ideas. So what I did practically just to come around. So I traveled around the world to ask 100 creatives what they would do if they could change everything. And bring in their knowledge actually where they, I mean, creative industry needs to perform every day and with creativity. And just to give you some examples of this transfer is, there's, for example, one example from Germany, actually. It's called Digital School Story. What this organization does, actually, it's an NGO. They use, actually, video storytelling that is popular with TikTok to teach. So practically what they're doing is they bring creators from influencers to school, and these guys support, actually teach, or let's say, go through learning materials, and then every kid needs to actually bring the learning content alive with a TikTok video storytelling in cooperation with the creators that are very famous very often.
Absolutely true.
And you can imagine that they love that.
Attention.
So it's really, it's like, it's a media that they use every day, right? So practically it's much more interesting than having the books in the backpack. So that's one example. The other thing that I love is actually, there was an, actually, it's a consultant, and he had the idea to write a kid's book for his son in a day and to sell it the next day on Amazon with generative AI, imagery, and with ChatGPT. And what we did is actually, with a professor from Frankfurt, we transferred this method to a teaching method where kids actually can create in 48 hours products like books, magazines, whatever, using these tools, more or less. So there's a concrete topic and a goal to create something that at the end is tangible. No? So what they learn is they use actually these tools. The teacher learns it as well, because mostly the kids know it better than the teachers.
True.
And that's the second example. I think bring up to your question before is I think it's important that we are now in a long life learning process. So actually everybody, not teachers, but everybody, even as an entrepreneur, everybody needs to learn everything every day. And I can learn more from my kids that I could learn from my teachers. So I think teachers and students maybe should also be, you spoke about the level, I don't know, I see a level there. So just say, okay, I can learn from everybody. It doesn't matter who you are.
True,
no?
true. Then you need to say that I'm the learner as well. Yeah, I'm not only the teacher.
Everybody's a learner.
I'm
Yeah.
the learner.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're on the same stage. Thank you so much, dear guests. I hope to see you again, and for sure during the question session you will have the plenty of questions, and you can open these topics a bit more. So thank you so much. Thank you, viewers. We will be back soon. Hello again. And I'm glad to meet here Kerli Pozogina from Estonia. Can you please introduce yourself a bit more or larger? Christoph told that you're the person who really connects digital Estonia and educational Estonia. What does it mean?
Well, yes, in Estonia, digital competence is a general competence throughout different subjects, and it's addressed in that way in national curricula. So we, in our Innovation and Cooperation Center in Youth Board, Education and Youth Board, we create those digital competence models for the teachers and for the students. We describe the learning outcomes they have to achieve on different levels of education, and we create tools for the schools to support that. So
what kind of tools we have already?
We have digital competence platforms. We have over 300 learning outcomes described very specifically what there has to be taught throughout different subjects. We have online dictionary, we have e-course template for the schools, which covers most of the 9th grade learning outcomes. We have digital training for the teachers. So there are quite a lot of guidelines in place. We have working documents for the schools, how to do their learning, how they should do the curriculum analysis. And how they should get on board the teachers on different subjects. So, yeah.
Do our students don't need the backpacks in the future, or they don't need it already?
I can't say that. I see my 3rd grader go into a very big bag to school every day, but there can be some good solutions out there, but I don't think we should lose all the books, but we can combine them in a very good way. So it will be beneficial to use both, I think.
Yeah,
I'm curious. I have a question to you, so maybe
ask, of course.
hijacking a little bit.
Ask, of course.
Because we have in Germany actually the problem whenever there's a change, so it's the flexibility of the system is, it's let's say the lowest I know actually practically. So due to the fact that you have this, let's say, it seems very flexible system, how long does it take whenever something new comes up to implement it and scale it actually? Isn't that fast really?
Digital competence is in the curriculum already since 2014. So it has been quite a long road, and we do digital training since the 1996. And we have learned over the period different approaches for the digital trainings for the teachers, what works. So we have very specific programs in place and different approaches in place to make that sustainable practice change that we want to see, because otherwise teachers come to digital training and they listen all the smart talk and they go back and continue with their books. But what we do is that we put them into the situation where a lot of individual or cooperation has done during the digital training, so they have to practice something in the classroom to get the certificate for the training. So this proves to be very effective. We also do in different programs, for example, in Digital Accelerator program, we do a whole school approach. So we go into school, we are there for 6 months, they have their own educational technologist mentor, and we do a very extensive training and mentoring for the teachers and for the leaders. So in the schools, the leader has to be very much on board. Yeah. So that is the way to go. And then we can see a little bit of change. So it's not happening like this. It's constant work with the digital competence, what is the aim, and constant work with the trainings.
I feel bad for the German schools.
If I don't do so. We all have some kind of the problems. Me as a teacher, if I can give the reflection, I don't use the centralized Moodle, we have this name, a Moodle platform, because it still can't be so quick as the other platforms. Now I still use the closed Facebook pages, for some documents, Google Drive, for some interesting tools which are developing with the days to keep the classroom updated and keep the classroom interactive. Do I do something wrong then? Or this combining of different platforms, what they use already is correct, and not to use the educational e-platform, governmental?
I would say that there is a tool for everything. For example, if you want to get a very good learning analytics data and you have designed it very thoroughly, then Moodle is a way to go. You can get a lot of data out of it, from which you can learn from. But of course, it depends. We never kind of advocate one platform or one solution. There are different solutions, but the idea is not also to give out a lot of different tools, digital platforms. The idea is to choose the digital tools and platforms based on what you need. For example, for the assessment or for the digital content creation and so on. So you kind of, the methodology and the purpose should be there, and then you choose the platforms, not the other way around. So I would not say that you just should use Moodle, or you should think about what you need for the teaching, what kind of courses you do, what kind of content you need to put out there, what kind of data you want to get out of it afterwards. For example, do you do a hybrid version of the course? Do you do a fully online or something other? So that should be the main focus of choosing
better
platforms.
To either fully virtual or fully physical. This is my experience. Hybrid is such of pain of the head.
But you can learn from it.
Yes, yes, that's maybe true. But what kind of tools we need to know as a teachers to be the good teachers?
I think it's interesting whenever we're talking all about, we talk about the institution that creates that, we talk about the teacher, the principals, whatever. Very often we don't talk about the kids, right? And I think very often the kids, they they know better than the whole institutions what kind of tech is really advanced. I think they use Discord, and the teacher didn't even hear about that years ago. And I was just asking myself how this this could be evolving so fast that we're also listening to them say, okay, there's a new technology coming up. For example, I learned from that ChatGPT. I heard that from my daughter. Even I'm working in the digital industry. I'm selling technology. First time I heard from ChatGPT was from my daughter, because she was using it in school, right? And so I think what might be interesting is to there might be kind of let's say somebody, maybe it's also a mentorship of kids in school that analyzes technologies and says, okay, there's something new. Should we maybe analyze that in school? Just say, let's try it out. Let's try it out if that's valuable for learning. For example, I'm working with an augmented reality platform. We now started to bring augmented reality in schools to make them create also augmented reality content. I mean, this technology is, Apple invests a lot in that technology, and that's going to be out in the latest 1 or 2 years tremendously, right? And very often it's not even, nobody heard about that. But I think the initial thing is don't say, okay, this technology must be adapted to research and find out what are the trends. And if there's a trend, just find out, is that valuable? And maybe also give more power to the teachers just to try it out. At least in our country, is that the teachers very often feel like, oh, I'm not allowed to do it, so better
we
don't,
do
because
the same.
otherwise
We have the German culture here.
Yeah.
We're afraid to
why are they not
make
allowed
mistakes.
just to use it? And interestingly, I have 10 schools in my book actually where I present them as a good best practice. These principals do things that are not allowed, so they break the rules. And then they are the most successful, and then they are the showcase schools for the ministries, but they break the rules. Isn't that weird? So how could we maybe better also give them more freedom also to teachers and schools, and talk about, we should change learning and not the education system, right? But give them freedom to just try out, and especially and also do it together with the learners. And not there is the teacher. We had this discussion before. He knows everything, because there's actually a very interesting project in Germany where it's called it's from Education Y. It's called Spacemaker. They install mentors in school that are responsible for teaching the teachers. So kids that are really show regularly to the teachers what's state of the art.
That's
and they are empowered to do that, right?
That's a very good idea.
And this works really good. And that brings change, and then also brings it from the basis. No? So I don't know how to institutionalize that, but well, just to say that very often these small satellites are something that is against the rules. And that's weird, isn't it?
It is. So what is the future of our digital education in Estonia, in Europe? What do you think? Is it more freedom? We have lost 2 minutes for describing your thoughts.
I do think that that the technology itself should not be the center. So I hope that the future is that the technology will continue to be the advocate or catalyst for the change and for the innovation. We should talk about more pedagogical innovation. More than technological innovation. So I'm hoping that the technology will be the catalyst for that.
And there was a very good idea from Leonard about possible change of the pedagogical system, that students who are eager to learn and to find out different platforms and different solutions, they can teach teacher.
That's a target group. They are the target group. We're serving them.
Yeah. But they should. We should kind of focus on that. The students, they are very digitally kind of using a lot of technology, but the digital competence is much more than that. Students are very often very competent on entertainment, but we need them for the digital safety part, for the digital content creation, and so on. So there are a lot of different parts.
Critical thinking.
So
and sources, if we talk about
so
the
they still need a teacher for that.
Still need a teacher. That's for sure. Yeah. Thank you, their guests, and thank you, their viewers. And we will have the last part of TV show. See you soon. Hello, and I'm glad to say Kalimera, or is it already Kalispera?
Kalispera.
Already Kalispera. From Greece, Theo, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you too.
And also, of course, our previous guest, Svetlana. Nice to see you again. Theo, the first question, you know it already because I asked it many times, that do you want to add something for this description of you made by Christoph, or delete something?
Okay, all right. I could update it a little bit.
Yes, or update.
Because in the past 10 minutes it has been updated a little bit. That was a joke. So,
but it always can happen because we live in a digital world that everything changes
of course,
quickly.
it's a dynamic situation. So I'm running SCICO for Science Communication, which is an organization which focuses on science engagement, science education, STEM education, and the empowerment of pupils, students via the teachers.
And it means that it's need to be interesting, or it's
making science simple.
Or
yeah. It's making science simple, making science and technology fun. That's the main purpose of this.
How you do it? How you do it?
Well,
do you have some example?
There are many examples, but I think if you want to see it from a broader perspective, the key thing is one. It has to be relevant to you. It's empathy. It has to concern you. If I'm talking about, when we were talking about climate change 10 years ago, about some flood in Asia or something in Europe, it was never relevant. Nowadays, that is happening 100 kilometers away from Athens, and the flood has reached 1.5 meters in height. It has become relevant. Now it concerns everybody. So that's the main thing. Then you can gamify things in various ways, either using technology or without. But
yeah, but that's true. But and very good example as well. So there are the many things still out there where not connected. It's hard to make an attention or focus attention of the teachers or students or anyone else. What to do with these topics when the flood is not coming yet into your room?
Okay, that's a fair question. So basically our experience comes from, I will talk about maybe one of our flagship projects.
Yes.
It's called Generation Next. What we do is we train the teachers, either physically or digitally, and then in turn we convert them, the pupils, in a sense, into innovators, into becoming innovators. This is part of a greater project by the Vodafone Foundation, where we are actually empowering the teachers to use novel digital technologies into doing that. For example, we're working in a remote island in Greece, and the teachers come up and they create a pharmacy drone in order to serve remote areas of the island when it's winter time and there's no tourists and it takes you 40 minutes to convey medicines there. Or other pupils, they made some gloves where they convert the sign language into text for people with speaking difficulty. So these kind of innovations,
Little bit like a hackathon.
exactly.
It is like a hackathon.
And the overall umbrella is project-based learning. That's the idea. When you actually, it was mentioned earlier, but maybe I'm using a different term. So when you actually ask the pupils who know already too much via the access to technology to become problem solvers, and you are just the coach. In fact, you are the learner. In fact, you are the unlearner, because we learned in a different way many years ago, and now we have to unlearn in order to be compatible with the new knowledge.
Thank you. Svetlana, what do you think? What kind of the skills we need to have as a teachers to make such of hackathons, to make such of digital skills, I mean, and to make such a hackathon, such of problem-solving sessions?
Okay, so one
Or
thing
do we need at all?
I would say if it's one thing, then it's openness to the new. I've encountered this many times, teachers who are skeptical about digital technologies. And it's not because they are lazy or because they don't believe in it, but I think they're so much used to these traditional methods of teaching, and we all know that the traditional methods of teaching are based on this, like you give a material to the, you teach something, then you assess the kids, they get grades, and whatever they get, we just move to the next concept. And here I would like to mention the other way of teaching, which is mastery learning concept, which is based on the fact that you until you don't master a subject, you don't move to the next concept. And this was proposed by Benjamin Bloom in 1968, and it's an old philosophy, but it's really important and nowadays to use it. So I think this is something that teachers can come back to, this knowledge. And again, talking about Khan Academy, it's a principle, main principle in the platform. So until you don't master a subject, you don't continue. So yeah, coming back to the openness, I think it's very important to be able to show to the learners, like our teachers are learners, to show them all the variety of tools they can use. And I think what Theo just mentioned, the project-based learning is really important. Like having the final goal, the final learning goal in the horizon, then you find out what kind of tools do you need. And you have a lot of beautiful examples. And also I wanted to add that there are international partnerships, like for example, together with Libraries Without Borders from Belgium and Education Without Backpacks. we did a project together, which is called Khan for STEM, and it's funded by Erasmus+. So we created a toolkit with good practices from teachers from Belgium and Bulgaria, and we spread it online, and it's free, of course. We also created a teaching module and a Train for Trainers course based on this toolkit. So I think it's what is really important, and this is changing the setting, because teachers are becoming more and more open by seeing that others are open as well.
Theo, we always goes a bit more and more this pedagogical innovation, so it means that we need to change the way how we teach. Is it possible with every subject, as Svetlana described, project learning?
I'll give you an example on this. We were in this remote area again, because we specialize in remote areas. We find them very interesting as well, and there's a great need there. There was, before we started running our STEM empowerment program, we went to the classroom, and the physics teacher there, she told us, she took us to the side, I have this kid who is has a little bit of a learning difficulty. As a result, he doesn't focus very much. He creates a lot of noise in the classroom. Are you sure you want us to include him? And we said, of course, we want you to include him. The same teacher was teaching in the normal classroom daytime, as dictated by the Ministry of Education, and she started running our out-of-school intervention for 3 months, which was a 3-hour-long session every time. 3 months later, we go back and we go to the teacher and we tell her, what happened? Did he destroy the whole thing? Did you manage to run the program with the other kids? And she goes, you won't believe it. This very same kid that I cannot handle in the daytime, even for a 50 minutes length of a normal school hour, he came up to be the best coder that I had ever had.
You see.
And what? It was the same teacher, the same venue, the same school, the same classmates, but it was a different system. It became a game, it became a project-based approach. So this, shows how much of a supermarket is our educational system. I'm not talking about Estonia and Finland, but look at the rest of the world. And this also brings me to say something else based on this. it's very nice to talk about technological innovation and digital skills, but take into perspective on who has access to them. We've been working in Albania in the last 3 years, again with the same Generation Next. People were asking for tablets. 2 years now we've been working in Tanzania in Africa. People are asking for electricity.
Yes.
We went there with the tablets to do their STEM classes, and in the end we ended up playing frisbee with them. There was nothing to do. There was no electricity and no internet. So this is fundamental. We need to take into perspective what is around, and this, even in the year 2023, to some extent is a luxury. And this is why I like very much blended learning. Because
what does it mean? What does it mean, the blended learning?
Well, there's another example. What it means. It's this book by this guy, Abraham Verghese, who's a doctor. He's a professor at Stanford of general medicine. He wrote that book 10 years ago. And it was with all the overwhelming data coming from all the sensors in health. He spoke about the human touch. He said, you know, at the end of the day, a doctor's human touch cannot be replaced by the other different types of data. Whether you want to call it placebo or whatever you want to call it, the patient wants to hear it from the doctor. I'm not being traditional here. I'm saying that we need both, but the role of the teacher has to be beyond the knowledge, the academic knowledge. It's the pedagogy which is important. It's they will be the ones who will create this engagement. And then, as it was mentioned earlier, technology is the facilitator that will give us the access. It will give us the reach to more people. It will give us more kind of gamified information. But we need to take care the validity of it as well. This is another topic.
Absolutely true. Thank you so much, dear guests. Thank you for all guests. Unfortunately, our time for this TV show about digital educational hackathon show itself, it's not over yet, of course, because you can ask the questions. Probably you already asked, because here was so many different tips and so many different hints and thoughts which are interesting. But if you didn't so, then do it right now and send us the question. And with you, dear viewers, we will see again in the 18th of October in this year. Bye-bye. Have a good time.
Welcome back to the DigiEduHack webinar. This is the Ask Me Anything session. Many of you who are following us online live already submitted quite a few questions. So if you go to the comment section, you will see how many interesting questions has been already submitted. But I would like to encourage you all who not commented us and not made any questions yet. Please do it until we are on live and we are on the studio, so I can bring your questions to our guests. So as the webinar continues, we still have in the studio Kelly Pozsogina from Estonia and Theo Anagnostopoulos from Greece, Svetlana Gorenova from Bulgaria, and Leonard Sommer from Germany. So it's a very international selection of wonderfully experienced people from the field of different fields of education, actually different levels of education. And if you followed us in the previous session, I really would like to pick it up at the point where Theo mentioned about the human touch, the importance of the human experience, and how technology couldn't like the alienation for us, but bringing this human touch maybe closer and adding also that importance to that, and maybe to highlight that for the high tech, it's on the one side, but high touch is even maybe more important than that. So here the question comes that how to make this educational experience remarkable, and how we can have the human experience in the educational process. So how do you see the role of technology in a more humanized education? So if you understand this paradox, what would your bridge to this paradox? Can you see some good examples, or you have some kind of an ideas, or your imagination brings something to us? So this is for all of you, whoever want to start. Theo, you just want to say something, I see.
Yeah, I mean, some projects maybe come to my mind. Maybe I'll start narrating them, and then this might create some ideas around it. For example, where we're working in Tanzania in Africa, one of the main problems they have is the fact that in those villages, that elephants go through their village every now and then. And this is because the village is built on the pathway of where the elephants used to go through, okay? So as a result, I mean, the elephants keep doing their routine, but now there's a lot of huts there's a whole community which gets disturbed by that passage. So the idea there was to teach the students how to learn to use sensors so that they can detect or deter those elephants going through that particular area. Of course, the primary thing is to teach those people to leave some corridor for the elephants. That's the number one thing. So we're going to basic sustainability lessons. But when you come to add technology, you can create an application. The students, the teams can create an application that it will inform them when the elephants are approaching, because there were some injuries recently. So that's one example. So how you can use this technology in order to become your problem solver in your real life, then it's definitely relevant to you. Either it's a game or a
I have a very good example for the human touch aspect. During the COVID, we could see these mental health problems and physical health problems emerging when the students were at home all the time, and also the learning strategies issue. So all these combined, we realized that we couldn't anymore only talk about the digital technology we have to use to kind of overcome this situation. So we created this kind of learning and teaching framework, which consists of very simple guidelines and suggestions for everyday teacher, no matter what is the subject, how in every lesson to support their students' mental health, physical health, and how to teach them learning strategies, because that was the very big issue when they were a lot on their own, and what kind of digital tools can support all those factors. So this is actually a very good outcome of this period, where we struggled a lot, but we don't talk about the technology so much anymore, but how this supports this. And the guidelines, the teachers really love it, because it's they never thought about this, that they shouldn't give out, for example, some kind of leaflets, but they should ask students to move, not to run themselves throughout the class and so on. So there was some kind of very simple change in their minds, how they should kind of support that in everyday class. Like you should go and put some kind of assignments on the corridors, so they could move a lot, and also for the mental health, like how you can approach the class, what kind of assignments you could do that helps them a lot, and the whole climate in the class. So this came out of just this situation.
The aspects of well-being is definitely need to be discussed, because it's on the one hand very objective physical process and condition, but at the same time it's a mental condition, and technology can have good and bad in that, if we also recognize techno-stress or
for example,
burnout and this kind of issues.
Those learning strategies issue also. We never teach parents how to help their children. They don't know the learning strategies, but they help the children at home when they get assignment. So we discussed that you should actually give an assignment for the homework and describe how you should learn it. You don't have to learn all the words at once. You should kind of take a break and remember it and so on. So parents don't know it, and we should kind of help the whole community in that aspect.
However, technology can also contribute to this learning to learn, building awareness in that. And Leo?
Yeah, I might have another example from let's say our company, from Zauber. What we're doing is, that's where we're coming from originally. We are using augmented reality to create time travel in cultural institutions and sites. So for example, one of our work is actually, it's installed at the concentration camp in Dachau, more or less. And the thing is that we spoke about let's say the attachment of entertainment of kids, and the thing is that learning usually is an adventure, and very often we don't teach it as an adventure. But what's interesting is with this technology is that, and we did this at the Berlin Wall and other sites, is that with augmented reality, to go to a historical site is really a multi-sensory adventure. So you're going to go there. Usually when you go into that concentration camp, you just see some huts. There's nothing there anymore. But if you really go there and you have your smart device and you see actually how it was at the day of the liberation, and you see how full the camp was and everything, that's something that is a much more intense learning experience, what is also, let's say, more humanized. Actually, so you really understand, because usually you get to the textbook, that's boring, so what? But if you're going to go there and say, Jesus, they did art there. That was art from these people, and so it's kind of you getting in touch with these people. Or another example is like it's a castle where we bring them in contact with avatars, where you have let's say the knights from the 6th century, and you see them really in photorealistic avatars, and you're going to go there and visit this. Then it's much more intense learning experience, and it's an adventure. And I think if learning is an adventure, actually that's human. And I mean, the whole life should be an adventure. We're learning every day, and I think that's what we very often lose in let's say in classical learnings in school. But you think, we need to put these topics in the head, right? But the whole life could be a learning adventure for everybody, right? And I think technology could help there to bring actually learning content to be an adventure, so far.
Yeah. And also, I think also adventure, but also an empathy. When I think of human touch, what comes to my mind is empathy, in a way that when a student gets a wrong answer, he doesn't get this immediate, note, and then you just skip and you continue. But you are asking the students, do you want to try again? Do you want to get a hint? How can I help you? Maybe you want to ask your peer. And this is all possible with technology. Actually, it's one of the features of Khan Academy. I'm coming back again to this amazing platform, but like it's based that whenever you solve an exercise and you're wrong, you can get a hint, so you can be empowered to continue to learn. And if you're not managing to understand, then the rule is ask a peer, and if a peer doesn't help, then ask a teacher. So we have this three model. 3 persons, 3 subjects model before you continue to the teacher, and I think it's very humanized this way.
There are many layers you brought in just with this relatively simple question, which is really in the center, the human touch, and it reminded me, of course, the opportunities in personalization and making more addressing the person. Can it be learner or teacher, but more to the human, more to the individual, and at the same time also the community experience can be also extended. That brings me actually to the other question, what has been sent us by one of the viewers, that how knowledge is actually transformed into an experience, to have more the sensitive aspect, the empathy has been mentioned, and how to explore these different aspects of knowledge, which is not anymore just information, but really in the context of the human experience, and how these immersive technologies are not only just spectacles to getting blown away by them, but using meaningfully to them to bring us this human experience in a learning situation. But of course, this requires skills, competences to build these systems and to use these systems, to introduce these systems. How teachers can teach skills and competences instead of knowledge? That's someone asking from us, what's your experience? So instead of knowledge, skills and competences.
I think that there's a huge tradition in the teacher to pupil kind of direction, arrow learning over the last centuries globally. So now we've understood that this doesn't work because there's so much information not being absorbed and deviated in various ways, and we've measured that it doesn't work like this. So that we're now trying to disrupt this process. This is the main topic, right? How to disrupt this former chain that used to be. So can you go back to the question?
Yes. Instead of knowledge, more skills and competences.
Okay. The one idea which comes from an example of a peer of mine, a friend of mine, who is a Nat Geo explorer in India, is that he's working on plastic pollution, and he co-designs. He uses design thinking basically, which is well known to everybody here, in order to co-design the characters in the books, especially for primary schools, and they have that kind of comic type of books, but the kids participate and they select how the characters will look like, and how, so that they resonate more to them. So it becomes more relevant. Now, stemming from this, I don't understand why they just not teach horizontally to every school around the world design thinking. Like, learn how to observe, which is the most difficult thing, in the world without your bias. Learn how to collect your data, analyze it, prototype it, and pitch it.
And don't mix the faces.
Exactly. Yeah. If this was like this would be the fundamental of education, in my opinion, because this cultivates a certain way of both problem solving and creativity and collaboration and all the new skills required.
So you mentioned a great opportunity, which is a challenge at the same time. So you had that why not. So how do you see these opportunities and challenges in terms of digital education? So what are the main challenges and opportunities in connection with digital education in your context? Maybe we can take a quick round, and let's start with
I can start
Svetlana.
with this. What is really needed when it comes to smart digitalization at schools? We need more digital leaders in the schools. Like this is like position assigned by the principal, a person who is really taking care of the whole digitalization in the school, but also of the digital skills of the teachers. And it's important because what we see now in the schools, there are more and more trainings, more and more like STEM rooms and really well-equipped spaces, but the bridge between those spaces and the pedagogy is missing. So I think this kind of a person, and we in the education that backpacks, we are really for this in this change in the institutional level, to think of such a person who is going to be involved in every school which is going to be digitalized.
Very clear. You thought assigned by the principal. I would rather say assigned by the community and recognized by the principal. Do you agree? So that's also the needs-based approach.
Yeah, maybe I should have. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
I think what was more important, like leadership team.
So, what is in your field? You have this daily reality, right?
Yeah. Main challenge is resources, humans, budget, time for teachers to experiment. They have long days in the school. They need flexible approach, but there is no time to fit in the school day for them to experiment all these technologies and different aspects of it. So and I think that I really liked your idea. We also talked about this the methodology. So this should be main challenge. We have in Estonia the average age of a teacher is quite old. So this plays quite a big fact. New teachers, they burn out quite quickly. So these issues are still there, and then these create a big challenge. So we need these older age teachers who are very skilled in methodology. We need them to use purposefully this technology. New teachers, young teachers, they are very good in technology, but not yet so experienced in methodology. So we have to find a way to put them together to help each other. Yeah.
You collect a lot of good examples, and it's also in your profession to bring information for massive amount of people. So how do you see what are our chances to bring these meaningful solutions for a larger amount of people?
I would rather go back to the challenge. I think and that's a very, let's say, very human point, is I think whenever you have more tools or technologies, I think what needs to be evaluated is also the value and the knowledge to say, oh, I don't automatically use technology. In this case, I'm using maybe analog methods. So for example, just imagine as a father, right? Why don't the kids sometimes call their friends? Why don't they just take the phone and call them? Because it might be more efficient to do that. No, they write WhatsApp and speech messages. Yes, that's the technology, and that's our time. But maybe sometimes also to get the skills of practical so the how to do it. And I think in the same sense is also maybe give them also the skill to say, when is better to use technology and when not? For example, when do we eventually better meet? Because then we're faster. And that's the same in the daily life. If I imagine like we're using the whole day Slack, sometimes I just feel, oh, Jesus, that's so inefficient. So then you have one message and then a day later somebody answers in that. Maybe it would be better to do the projects that say, okay, sit down for half an hour and just do it together. And that's very often where I see the fascination for technology, but also give them the skills to say, step back and say, what would be the skill maybe to solve the problem in another way? Because very often technology is convenient, and it's also the traditional thing to do for the kids. But maybe it's modern, more to say, come on, let's just meet. We solve the problem in a group.
The human touch.
Yeah, and that's a skill that maybe needs to be relearned again. These classical skills, we spoke about this morning also, maybe to very often to train what we know from the past as well. So I say like skills, not knowledge, whatever, but and combine this, and this could be done by technology as well. But and I think that's a big challenge.
So we need our everyday wisdom, right?
We're losing a lot.
But yes.
Best of both worlds.
No, you want to
Yeah,
add something?
it's the wisdom that it's the cultural heritage basically, which includes centuries of wisdom, which is it shouldn't be discarded. It should be used every day. I was telling Leo this morning that I was on an expedition last year in the Pacific Ocean. Nothing to do with cultural heritage. It was about sharks populations and microplastics with National Geographic, and they brought an expert on cultural heritage. And I said, why? We're meeting some people. I said, no, but you're here in the middle of the ocean. It's full of hurricanes, volcanoes, earthquakes. These people have survived. They've thrived over the last 4,000 years. We need to take into account this knowledge, and this should apply to everywhere. It's all this knowledge that in the last, maybe I'd say randomly 50 years, or even maybe 80, has been, discarded. You see, the way that, for example, my city, Athens, has been built. All these years of thousands of years of bioclimatic architecture. Homo sapiens has been around for 100,000 years. The last 80 years, you have the most energy inefficient buildings in the world. Right? But
with technology.
Yeah, with technology. But if you go back to, since I mentioned it earlier, to Africa, they use those cob-made huts that they use cow dung or elephant dung, and they're cool in the summer and they're warm in the winter. I'm not saying to use the cow dung, but there's other materials, as well.
Okay, let me do a dramatic leap, what our viewers dictate to us. So, in addition, in the top of this age-old wisdom, which is maybe forgotten, and maybe we use now technology as a kind of an oracle nowadays, especially when the wonderful ChatGPT is here. So what do you think, should use educators ChatGPT or not? This is one question we got right now. So chat or not?
Of course it should. I'm for it, definitely.
Okay.
Giving several examples I mentioned today, but a teacher can get a really amazing lesson plan just by asking ChatGPT the right questions. And this is for Canmigo now, the future version of ChatGPT, which is an educational product implemented in Khan Academy. But ChatGPT can be very useful if we know what good question to answer, to ask. So if we know to ask the right question, it can get us amazing lesson plans as a teacher. I'm a math teacher as well, so I kind of use it. And also it can help the kids also to brainstorm or find amazing ideas about anything which contains, it could contain some figures, historical figures. You can speak with a historical figure, for example. You can think of, you can talk with Hamlet as well. You can talk with somebody that you never met, but it was a dream of you to meet. So why not use this imagination tool that gives you a lot of opportunities?
Yeah, that's really something incredible. However, what you mentioned, there needs to be the expert who, I would add, not only ask the right questions, but also have some kind of understanding that how these answers are emerging there, and also have their own authority to maybe overrule these answers and correct those answers wherever needed. Just a very simple test in mathematics. I have seen this conversation with my own eyes. ChatGPT was asked, how many ends have a stick? ChatGPT answered 2. And then, how many ends have half a stick? ChatGPT answered 1. So I think this is something what is coming maybe from the formal logic and from the technology, but obviously this is something, these traps to be avoided by our own confidence and our own critical thinking is needed. But what's your takeaway from ChatGPT? As a marketing expert, you've been a little bit worried when this technology appeared.
Well, it's practically coming to our industry. I sold my agency 2 months ago, so it's not my problem anymore. But
okay,
it's a lot of the craft actually that we did. You can't sell it anymore, right? I mean, if it's not excellent, so copywriting excellence, ChatGPT will not do that, right? But coming back to your question, so I think here it's the same. ChatGPT is the same. It's a technology like, let's say, the television. So it's a new technology. Okay, it's there. And I think it's there also to stay. And I think here it's like you need to understand also where does it make sense to use it and where not. Because I think here might be the same risk that very often say, oh great, I can use it for everything, wonderful, and then you lose yourself in the tool, and then after 3 hours say, Jesus, what's my output? Nothing. It was like Googling before. I just lost myself in the tool, right? So I think important is just only to say, how could you use it efficiently? And brings you to your point that that's also, you say in let's say, managerial things like, who asks the questions in a meeting is the leader. If you have the right questions, then you lead the team. If you talk and whatever. So I think you need to learn and to also teach to ask the right questions, and interestingly also semiotic, the language skills, they have a very different meaning now, because if you don't know exactly, and that's also something that's also elite now, if you are good in language, then you can use this tool better. So even that's another discrimination, because if somebody's not good in language, he can't use it. English. So we have a lot of and again, a lot of discrimination paths, because they can use this tool.
And as our viewers certainly recognize, none of ours mother tongue is English here, but ChatGPT is really the best in English, as we know. But how the digital nation, Estonia, is reacting to such kind of technology? Is it a threat or a blessing?
There are 2 sides of it, of course. There is a very big issue of data protections regulation aspect for this that we have to consider, and we are not talking about only the ChatGPT, but the AI solutions in different apps which are coming up every day. But yeah, we are creating right now 2 digital training courses for the teachers based on the education level, and we focus on methodology again. So what can be taught in classroom, and better, we are always in Estonia in that approach that we should embrace it, but we should also kind of be aware of the threats, and based on that we are definitely encouraging schools to use it, but to have a methodology behind it and think it through. And you shouldn't ask everything there. And as we know, it's already hallucinating and doing different kinds of things. So
It's lying.
Yeah, it's lying already. So based
Better
on
ask
what
my
we
wife.
put, all the wrong things we put in it, he kind of multiplies it. So we kind of get already those. We never lose the human touch, but
So-
we should embrace
Yes.
it. Yeah.
In addition to the methodology, I would like to ask one fellow citizen of Theo, Aristotle, who was
Okay.
talking about ethics. So ethics and artificial intelligence is some combination which is really bring us back to this deep human question. So what's your takeaway with these emerging technologies and your everyday reality?
Well, okay, I will agree on two things. One is that it's here to stay, and secondly, it will create efficiency in several things. I am skeptical in the sense that there is no data, especially since we're talking about education, on what happens about child creativity if it gets if ChatGPT gives all these combination answers for everything. What happens when I don't spend 4 years to write my PhD thesis and it comes out in 1 minute or less? What happens to my memory that I don't need to recall things anymore? There is data that when you have Parkinson's, for example, when you train your brain by doing things, by thinking, by creative thinking or by memorizing things, that degeneration decreases. But there is no data that nothing will change if we, apply ChatGPT to a lot of things in education, as is already been happening. The big guys that got together, the founders that got together like maybe 3 weeks ago, and they all asked for regulations around it. Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and all these guys, even the founder of ChatGPT asked for regulations. So this shows that there is concern here because we are living in a digital era where we're using exponential technologies. Exponential means that it was maybe 2 last year and it will be 200 next year, or even more.
Even the risks.
Yeah, and the risks are more.
But I'm really hoping that it will revolutionize the teaching a bit again. So
It
you
can do,
can't
yeah.
continue in your old ways. You kind of have to make AI-proof assignments now. You have to rethink everything you do in a teaching and learning process. So I'm hoping that we will kind of benefit from it also.
I really would like to add something here. Like the technical leaders met and thought about stopping the ChatGPT for some time, like 6 months of not using it before they can really regulate how to use it and so on and so on. But then there came the thought, okay, the good guys will really pause using it, but what will do the bad guys? They will really invent and innovate and so on and so on. So I think what is important is to find as many positive examples to use these technologies and artificial intelligence as possible.
I think we have the same chances that we have with sustainability.
Yes.
We can change it to good,
Yes.
or we can still go on like it is. So I think there are a lot of chances, but there are also a lot of risks. So better go into the right
Absolutely,
direction.
because this is all based on energy, as we know, and that's really something not infinitely available, though we might have the impression that this technological universe is as infinite as our cosmos, but the energy, what it consumes, it's really not infinitely available. And I'm really thankful for you. I learned a lot today. I hope that our viewers also got some new ideas to get ready for the DigiEduHack, for the hackathon, and also beyond, maybe something for your everyday practices. What I learned today is it's very important to have the courage to switch it on, right? To get it on and to use it and maybe fail with it and try it, experiment it, maybe use it on a way what is not recommended, but not being suggested by anyone else, just to do your own experiments, but maybe to be even more courageous, to know the time when you switch this off, and then also to consider that what's without and why is it for. So thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.
And welcome back in the next edition. Within some times we are returning with a new episode. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will be part of the DigiEduHack and also use all of this wisdom, this knowledge, these recognitions in your everyday practices. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.